Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Carpinteria Valley Water District to order. Can we have the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The roll call, please, Lisa.
Director Holcomb?
Here.
Director Balch?
Here.
Director Johnson and Director Roberts are absent, and Director Van Wingerden?
Here.
Okay, 3 present.
Then we got item number 3, public forum. Any person may address the board of directors on any matter within its jurisdiction which is not on the agenda. You got anyone, Lisa? Okay, none. So we move on to item number 4, the consent agenda, the minutes of the regular board meeting held on May 22nd, 2024.
Polly motions to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? A roll call, please.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Balch?
Aye.
Director Johnson and Roberts are absent, and Director Van Wingerden?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Then we got unfinished business, none. Number 6, new business, 6A, consider resolutions 1157, adopting and establishing a methodology for calculation of the capital cost recovery fee for Action Bomb.
Yeah, so every year we update the capital cost recovery fee. Last year we revised the methodology to use an asset-based approach. And the resolution's pretty detailed and self-explanatory in terms of what it's trying to do. Meso is here to answer any questions. She did the brunt of the work and moving towards this this rate schedule. And the rate schedule is up on the screen if you have any questions about the rates. Just a reminder, the capital cost recovery fee is if you purchase a new meter, this is the fee associated with the recovery of capital in the district's water system.
Any questions, Paul?
I could defer to Casey. I just had some comments. I like the way that this was laid out and that we quoted the AWWA and also CCRF. I did have a question here until I read on and then I was okay with it, so I'm okay with that part too. And I don't think I had any questions. I just had some things that I marked as that I thought they were, it was a good memo.
Casey, any questions?
No.
Actually, I didn't check it, but how do we compare to Goleta and Santa Barbara as far as these rates?
I'm not sure with the current rates how we compare. That's definitely something we could look into. I'm trying to remember when we did the update. So this is just the annual update. This isn't, we had previously adopted the new methodology. And so I don't know I think when adopting that methodology, we did look at neighboring agencies and whether the rates would be comparable, but I don't remember what they were.
Okay, so do we, I mean, I understand the method, but with any new construction, we want to make sure that we recover what's fair and reasonable, so.
Yeah, there's also another fee we're working on that's not related to capital per se. It's related to water supply acquisition. And so we will be coming back next, actually we're scheduling a series of committee meetings to talk about how that's been derived and eventually move forward to adopting that fee as well. Goleta has, we have recently talked to Goleta about their impact fees, and they do have a fee that is a little bit more than ours, but it also includes water supplies, so.
So how long before you will know as far as the impact fee for the water supply? When will that be ready?
I'll let Meso answer that one.
It depends a little bit how much discussion there is. So we've scheduled committee meetings for July, and I don't know if we scheduled the August one, but we're planning on July and August for committee meetings. So then there would be informational board meetings, and then we would go through sort of a public noticing and adoption procedure. So I would think by the end of the year, but again, it depends, there are some significant decision points that we need to make. So if we get into a lot of back and forth dialogue, that could be extended, but I think by the end of the year, it would be a reasonable timeframe.
Right, but then I'm assuming the Polo Villas, they will have all their meters in before the end of the year?
So the fee would only apply to anyone who is not, we amended our intent to serve letter to have a line that says you will have to pay any applicable development fees related to this intensification. So if anyone got their letter before we added that, which I believe Polo Villas did,
Yeah, they did.
then they would be exempt.
Yeah, they received their intent to serve letter right before we started working on this charge.
Okay. It is what it is. So. All right.
Were there any other big ones too that were before that? Okay.
No.
And then I like the examples that you gave. That was clear. It'll be interesting to see though what Goleta is doing too and how we compare to
Yeah,
that.
I can
So-
definitely check, and I can look back through the information that I had when we actually did the methodology updates. It's probably in there. It's just been a little while.
Sure. I support it.
Casey?
Are we all good?
Then can we have a
Oh,
motion?
okay, sure. I'll make a motion to support Resolution 1157, please.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? And roll call, please, Lisa.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Balch? Director Johnson and Roberts are absent, and Director Van Wingerden.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
So 6B, consider adoption of resolution number 1158, approving the amendment for the year 24-25 operating and capital budget for action. Bob?
Yeah, so as you recall, we, in 2023, we adopted both a operating budget for the period of fiscal year 24 through 26, as well as adopted rates to support that budget. That was approved on September 13th of 2023. But as we've, gotten closer to this particular year, fiscal year 25, there were some revisions that occurred. So we did an amended budget, and that amended budget now reflects change in revenues associated with a lower sales estimate, declining about $1 million of estimated revenue. And we talked about this, our baseline sales projection is significantly lower than we had when we adopted this 3-year budget. So now we expect less money to come in, about $1 million. The amended budget also reflects changes to operating expenses. We went back and looked at all of the line items and adjusted those with the latest information. Resulted in a decline of $325,000 in operating expenses. And then we amended the capital budget for a project that has been on hold for a while, but we've been notified by the city of Carpinteria, but it's going to go forward next year on Carp Ave Bridge. And so we budgeted $144,000 additional money in the capital budget for that. And those are primarily the changes that occurred in the budget. There are some minor ups and downs in the operating budget that I won't go into. But what we can say is it won't affect the rate. The rates will remain the same as the adopted rates. It's really just adjusting the budget itself. So our staff recommendations to adopt Resolution 1158.
Polly, any questions?
No, I'd forgotten about the Carp Avenue Bridge, so I know that was pending.
Lucy? So can we have a motion?
Oh, sorry. I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 1158.
Second. We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Balch? Director Johnson and Roberts are absent, and Director Van Wingerden.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Then we got 6C, consider adoption of the revised rules and regulations for Bob.
Yeah, this was presented, there's a number of changes, and they're described on packet page 43. This was presented, I believe it was at May 22nd? Yeah, the last board meeting. And so I don't have any additional information on this other than what's in your packets. So if you have any questions on that, otherwise, we're just bringing it back for adoption or approval.
Okay, any
I don't have any questions. I thought it was well laid out. I support it.
Tracy? Can we have a motion?
So I support the adoption of the revised rules and regulations.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call, please, Lisa.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Balch?
Aye.
And Director Johnson and Roberts are absent. Director Van Wingerden?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
6D, consider adoption of updated procurement policy for action, Bob.
Yeah, so we have a procurement policy that governs the way that the staff, expends money for various services and materials and supplies. And, we review it periodically, and we reviewed it recently, and there were some issues that we felt that needed to be addressed, primarily for, the first is how to deal with contract change orders and over budget. And that section actually still needs a little bit of work. There's some questions that still need to be answered. So for today, I'd like to not take action on this, but just give you kind of an update. Oh, okay. And then come back on July 10th and for approval of this. But basically, we've done this in practice where if we have an overrun anticipated in a contract, overrun of the contract amount, we will come back and ask for approval of the board unless there's a time constraint and the work needs to be done. For example, like the GSP, I think there wasn't enough time to actually get approval for some overages, so we ended up coming back and reporting kind of the final budget. So that's kind of how we've been in practice. So we're just codifying it in the policy. Yeah. Did you have a question, Director Holcomb?
No, go ahead.
Oh, then credit card issuance extended to field foremen. So we recently switched switched credit card companies, and the credit card company that we now are with allows us to issue what's called virtual cards, which you can put on a smartphone and in the wallet. And one of the issues we were having with the field crew was they were working, late hours past, 7 or 8 at night, and the district provides food when that occurs for the employees. And so in order to not have the foreman paying with their own credit cards and then asking for a reimbursement, we issued them a limited amount on these virtual cards, and so that's now included in the policy. We also included some language about reoccurring charges for subscription. There's a process now that we've put into place to make sure that those reoccurring charges are approved through a formal process. And then we also had added some language about mid-year budgetary revisions needing approval, or what type of approval or notification they need, and how the board is involved. So with that, I'll take any questions. Otherwise, we can just move on. Okay, sure.
I had a comment on the sole source section 6.1.2. I just wanted to say Kachuma has always had a sole source justification that we just fill out and attach so that it's fully transparent if anybody has a question while we are using, X company without going through a competitive bid, which we often do, but not when the same people are constantly coming in with the best rate and always coming in lower below their bid. So I didn't know if that was something maybe Norma could grab off the Kachuma website.
I think it's in here.
There?
Yeah, it's
Okay, I didn't
already
see
in
it.
here.
Okay.
Sole source justification.
No, I know. It was, all I meant to say was, I saw the sole source justification. All I meant to say was that Kachuma has just a little quick application to fill out to say who it is, what they're doing, what were the reasons behind sole sourcing
Yeah.
as a government entity that I thought might be helpful.
Okay, we'll take a look at it. I think we have a similar form.
Okay.
We may have gotten
Never
it
mind.
from COM.
Yep,
I don't know.
could've. Never mind.
Item 9, is that changing the current operational for budgetary controls for mid-year kind of adjustments? Is that a change, or is that just a,
Yeah, it's an addition. I'm not sure, we had a practice of doing this. And so it's just an additional budgetary control documented.
You'll bring this back on
So you're
July
coming-
10th,
yeah,
right?
What's that?
You're coming back with updates? the
We'll come
next-
back primarily on
For
the,
prime
you
time.
know, yeah, on the number 4, I think, or, no, yeah, item 4. All right, any other questions?
I think we're good. So we'll move on to item number 6E. Consider award of on-call construction bids from Elite General Engineering, Inc., BSN Construction, Inc., and Toro Enterprises, Inc. for the year 25 emergency work. Action, Bob.
Yeah, so every year, we renew the annual contract for on-call services. On-call services are for things like water main breaks or water service leaks that are either larger than we can handle alone or at all. Sometimes we've had a few in the last couple of years that were so large that we just couldn't, get it stopped and get it under control in a reasonable amount of time, so we had to bring in outside contractors. So because of that, we annually go out and solicit bids from local contractors based on this list of criteria: licensure, longevity, certificates of insurance, company capability, with specific examples similar to the requirements, proximity to the district, rate sheets, and references. And so we ask each contractor to supply us with proof of these things, and then we evaluate. We reached out to 5 local contractors, invited them to bid, gave them the package, and we only received 3, which all 3 of these contractors we've done work with, so we're confident with them. And typically, because you don't want to have just one contractor, because they might not be able to respond, they may be busy on another project, we typically will retain at least 3 of the 5. In this case, we only received 3, so we likely will just want to retain all 3. This is the rate sheet that they supplied, which is the primary, primary tool we use to evaluate which one to call first, and you kind of see these are the various rates for positions and equipment, and then this is sort of the totalized per hour rate. So this crew for BSN, for example, is $823 per hour, and Elite is $609 per hour if you had all these pieces of equipment out there, and then Toro at $1,260. And so part of the contract will be, these rate sheets will be included as the contract for the year starting fiscal year 25. And then that's the rate that we'll check on their invoices to make sure those rates are being held. So I don't have much else to report on this. I would just recommend that the board give authority to the district to enter in standby contracts with all 3 contractors with the provided rate sheets.
So just to clarify, so we were out looking for 3, by coincidentally 3 bid, right? And
That's
so
right.
And so it just so happens that these 3 we're fine with, we're okay with, we've worked with them before, right?
Yes.
Do we know why the other 2 didn't bid, like T?
I think Tira was no longer doing time and material
Oh,
work
okay.
because they have so much bid work. And Lash just was too busy.
Thank you.
Okay, Casey, any questions? Okay, we want to move forward then. Can we have a motion?
I move to approve the award of the on-call construction bid
Polly seconds.
firms.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? We can roll call, please, Lisa.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Balch?
Aye.
Director Johnson and Roberts are absent. Director Van Wingerden?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Then we got 6F. Consider award of contract for Terra contractors to complete a pipeline relocation associated work on Santa Claus Lane in the amount not to exceed $161,675 for action, Bob.
Yeah, you may recall last board meeting that we received a bid from Toro, but then we decided to throw out all bids and start over by rescoping the project. And so we did that. This is a Santa Claus Lane project associated with the county street improvements. We did do that. We kind of decided which parts of the project we wanted to do with our own forces, and which parts we felt needed a contractor and which parts we felt we didn't need to do. And so we did negotiate with the county on those things and came to an agreement on what would be done and what wouldn't be done. We also negotiated with them on some of the restrictions, like the night work restrictions. They haven't confirmed, but they acknowledged that it would probably be allowable to do the scope of work we're talking about during the day. And we're working with them on some other smaller things regarding groundwater discharging or construction dewatering discharge permits. So overall, $470,000 was budgeted originally for this project. Approximately $180,000 was spent on some of the work that was already done in the roundabout, which was completed by the county last year, and some design fees. So that leaves us with $285,000 in the budget remaining for this project. So staff put in the 2025 budget some money, $330,000 for this project by shifting money away from other capital projects. So it didn't change the total capital project balance other than that other $144,000 project that's not part of this project. And so that means total remaining is now around $615,000. And as you recall, just to remind you, the Toro bid was $2.4 million for the total project, which looking at kind of what we've ended up with is kind of astounding. So basically, the summary of how we modified the project, we eliminated phase 2 pipeline, and I'll show you kind of an image of this, which is a long stretch of pipeline that the county wanted us to do so that they would have water for a bathroom that they'd like to put in. Plan to complete service and lateral work with district forces. So there's a lot of work. Once we relocate the main, there's a lot of work connecting to the main because it's on the opposite side of the road as all the meters and fire hydrants. And then we reached out to Tierra and we received a pipeline a cost estimate or cost quote is what they call it, for phase 1 main relocation pipeline work only. And so meaning they're not going to do any of the services, they're not going to do any other appurtenances. All they're going to do is put the pipeline in, and our forces will come back and put the services and the hydrants in. So this is kind of a map of the Santa Claus Lane project, and over here on this side is where the freeway on-ramp is, and then there's a roundabout there. That work has already been done. And then this red line was the proposed pipeline relocation for this blue line here. So the blue line is basically right in front of all of these buildings in the parking spaces. And so by relocating it to the opposite side of the road, we'll increase the pipeline size, and we'll get it out of the, all of the improvements that are going to be happening right along the front there. There are a number of services, you can't really see they're color-coded yellow, but there are a number of services that will have to be reconnected to the new pipeline. So that will be part of the district's work. This section right here was actually put in 2018 by a developer who, was developing this lot right here. And so we required them, when they did the development, to extend a larger pipeline for fire flow out to their project. And so that was actually put in, but none of the services or any of the appurtenances were connected. So this pipe has been in service, as well as this other smaller 4-inch pipe simultaneously for the last 5 years. The county's improvements primarily are in this area. They are going to be doing some minor street improvements all the way up through this section, but really no parking spots and whatnot down here, like they are doing down here. So one of the things that we decided was we can, replace this piece, utilize this piece, and then cut back over and then keep our line, because our line here is actually out of the work area. There will be a little bit of work here where we'll be coming under a retaining wall, and then there will be another hydrant relocation over here, but that'll be done by the district forces as well. So basically, in summary, this piece of pipe, which was, I think, $1 million on the Toro bid, we're no longer doing that. This piece of pipe, which we will now have Tierra do if it's awarded tonight, is about 161. The quote is about 161,000. And then the remainder of the work really is the district forces, all of these service lines and appurtenances, hydrants, air vacs, that sort of thing. So just kind of in summary on the budget side of things, so we have a total available budget of $615,000. We plan to do in-house work, which amounts to about $262,481. We got the Tierra quote of $161,675. We have some additional work that we probably will need to get contractors for, but has not been, we couldn't get a price in time, but we estimated $130,000. And then there are other soft costs, permits, additional surveying, additional assistance and equipment and materials. So totaling the whole project with the rescope is $606,000, so we are within our existing budget. So that's kind of the summary of the project. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Staff's recommendations to approve awarding to Tierra the contract for the pipe only for not to exceed $162,000.
So the total cost so far is 180, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 130, how did y'all come up with that? And when will we get a better price, a better, more accurate?
So 130. So the 130. The biggest question mark in there is we solicited a bid. There's a section of this. Go back to the map here. There are a number of bioretention ponds on this road that the county is going to be constructing, and so that means they'll expose our pipe during their construction, and there's a need to protect those in place. So what it'll involve is putting a conductor around our pipe and make sure it's protected from the excavation and disturbance, so we don't get a leak in that pipeline. I think there's 5 of them, so we're waiting on a price from a contractor right now. But we have some history on those types of projects where we took the price, escalated it, and came up with $130,000.
We're reasonably confident about the 130.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, thank you.
Any questions, Casey? Bob, I got a question. So, and it's just, on the section that TR will be installing, will the stub outs be there, or that's up to your crew to put the stub outs in there later? When they put in the main line, are they gonna already install the stub outs?
Yeah, so we'll have them put saddles with corp stops on them, and then we'll come back,
Right.
dig out,
Okay.
we'll hook to them, and
And then, I'm assuming there will be water for the bathrooms that the county is installing, or not?
it's unknown. So the bathroom is located kind of right here, and they've, indicated that they need water, but we haven't resolved that issue. They could take it from this pipeline that is existing, but I'm not sure. They may, I think they may be required to have fire flow. These are concrete bathrooms. I'm not sure why they need fire flow, but they may be required to have fire flow, and that may be what's driving kind of the need to have a bigger pipe.
Okay, we'll leave that alone. Okay. Can we have a motion, please?
Is Casey's okay? Okay. So I'll make a motion to recommend the award to Tierra for Phase 1 pipeline contract in the amount not to exceed $162,000.
Second.
We got a motion, a second. Any more discussion? Lisa, roll call, please.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Balch?
Aye.
Director Johnson and Roberts are absent, and Director Van Wingerden.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, then number 7, director reports. 7A, Comb Fisheries Committee meeting, June 6, 2024. Polly?
Thank you. So I was the alternate for the Fish Committee meeting on June 6th, and a couple of the highlights were that we approved sending the draft activities agreement with the Bureau of Reclamation over to the board for approval. This is a long time in coming. I explained this to the board several months ago, that when CDFW took a larger role in the Stillhead, and it put us in a difficult position with the Bureau and also with CDFW, that we decided to memorialize our activity, which had not been done before because the Bureau really hadn't wanted to do it, but now they wanted to. They thought it was a pretty good idea. Initially, we were going to have it as part of the MOU until all of the GMs, including Bob, said no way. So we separated it, although the contract that the Bureau put forward is actually the actual number of the MOU, which is A, and the number of this agreement is B. So they've kept them separate, but they've linked them under umbrella, which is really, really great. There's an activity appendix that will be, that Janet designed that will change over time, so that will be a living document. And I haven't been around long enough to explain why this wasn't done before, but the point is that it's done. And as one member unit said when they first looked at it, they said, the Bureau's never going to agree to any of this. And then they said, wait a minute, this is the Bureau's contract. So we were happy with everything in it, and that it was worded and the way that we wanted it to be. And our lawyer, Bill, has reviewed it. Bill Carter has reviewed it and approved it. So that's being sent over to the board with our recommendation to approve. Then we had the annual monitoring summary, and this takes place every year. This was for 2023 by the Fish Department. Every year is different, and this one was the rainy year, and explaining why all the rains have caused different habitats to change and what that means. So we approved that going forward, and the Fish Department is going to give a presentation, division is going to give a presentation to the board, explaining, just summarizing what the annual monitoring summary is, which is going to go to the Bureau, as it does every year. We approved, as I was saying before, the Fish Passage and Habitat Improvement Project, which was being sole sourced with Peter Lapidus for $298,000. Normally, Peter comes in below his target, but we have the sole source, and this is for the crossings that I described before, which is 8, 4, 3, 1, and Aharo Creek. We eliminated 2 because we didn't think it was a priority at the time, so we'll go forward on that front. It's very, very lean. And we did our annual house cleaning, approving the scope of work for professional services agreements for the Fish Division. This includes Oak Tree Help and various scoping consultants that we've been working with, and all of the prices are more than reasonable, very, very in line with our budget. Let's see. So basically, in terms of field observation, there was a lot of reproduction on all parts of the river. Basically, Tim said everywhere, so that's very good news. We have been coordinating with CDFW on moving the fish, if need be, as the Bureau begins to ramp down their releases. Initially, CDFW said, please wait, let us do it, and then they realized that they didn't have the staff to do it. This led to CDFW saying to COM, okay, we need you to help out, but we need you to apply for a new permit. So through this effort, we are applying for a new permit, which will take a year. It's called an ITP, an incidental take permit. But it means that it's kind of a natural thing that we would do with CDFW, is we're still beginning to work together, and that is a very positive move. And that's it. The Bureau continues, at least at the time, has been continuing its releases through the outlet works, and that's all I have on that front, unless you have anything else. Is that what you've heard too? Oh, and there was some work done with the parent district and CCRB with respect to Title 19, and trying to make better efficiencies of Table 2, the fish division for COM, and Janet have been asked by the Bureau of Reclamation to come in as a facilitator. And so that's kind of what we know on that, is as we await the next biological opinion. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Polly.
Bob, I mean, is that kind of what you've been, nothing to report? Okay.
Okay, we're good?
Yep.
Then we move on to item number 8, General Manager's Report, none. Then we go on to item number 9, consider dates and items for the agenda for the Carpinteria Valley Water District Board meeting of July, hold it. When is the next board meeting? Oh, July, sorry. I mean, July 10th at 5:30 PM, Carpinteria City Hall, 5775 Carpinteria Avenue, Carpinteria, California. Anything? Then
So we don't need
we're-
one at the end of
I'm going to be on vacation.
Oh, great. Oh, so we don't-
We're glad you're taking your vacation. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Recording stopped.